Hey there, I wanted to talk today about a common problem that you experience when you're setting up your first Mastodon instance. You've gone and you've got your domain and you go to create your Mastodon instance and then you realize something kind of frustrating. I already have a website at that address and I have to choose my Mastodon instance or my website. But there is a way to have your cake and eat it too, using a technique called WebFingers. So I want to show you what the end result of this is. If we have a look over here on your FediHost control panel, you can see mastodon.consultatron.com. And the users from this instance you would expect would be known as username at mastodon.consultatron.com. But if we have a look at this instance and check out a user, we can see their actual handles are consultatron at consultatron.com. It's a miracle. So how do we achieve this? Well, we use WebFingers, and I'm going to walk you through how to do it and just an example of a redirect which you have to implement to make this thing work. The level of technical skill you require for WebFingers is relatively high. It's not like setting up DNS settings, but it's definitely possible if you've got some know-how or you've got some time or you've got a helpful friend. You, in fact, may be the helpful friend watching this right now. This is something that you want to do right at the start when you first create your instance. If you do this after you've created your instance and your account has interacted with other servers, you'll do the infamous breaking federation move. This is basically where you show up and say, hi, I'm this. And then you show up with what appears to be a completely different instance and you say, hi, I'm that same person. It's very confusing for the other instances to resolve who's who. And you kind of end up with like two identities competing with each other on the Fediverse. It's a mess. You don't want to do it. So it's quite unfortunate. You kind of have to know about WebFingers before you would know about WebFingers. However, with FediHost, we have created a system which, at the very least, during the instance creation process, does let you know that there's this WebFinger thing and do you want to enable it or not so that you can make a decision on that. So the first thing we're doing, selecting Mastodon and creating a new instance. Let's choose the domain. So we're going to choose really long. Now, you'd never ever want this. You do want to make sure that your subdomain is still a realistic domain because at the very least, if people are going to browse your instance on the web, this domain will be visible. So, I think a good idea is like M for Mastodon or Masto or social or whatever. But, just for this exercise to make it very obvious, really long domain.consultatron it is. We're going to select that domain and you'll see we get a DNS error because we haven't set this up in our DNS provider. So I'm going to jump over to DigitalOcean, which is where my DNS is being managed at the moment for the Consultatron domain. So here we are. Here's the Consultatron account. Here's the domain. Open that up. And we want to create a record that matches what has been put in over here. Now I explained this in another tutorial, so I won't go into this now, but it needs to be CNAME, 600, really long domain. So I'm going to put these details in. Really long domain.consultatron.com, lb.fedihost.co, and TTL of 600, and boom, there we go. If we go back to create service, hit create domain, it works. Create the instance, and we'll see really long domain.consultatron.com sitting there, and it's in a state of setup needed. And it's in this state because we now have to set up the WebFinger redirection. So turn it on, and what you're wanting to put in here is the aspirational domain, the domain that you're actually wanting to present to the world. So that could be anything. I mean, you could, for example, decide to put a shorter subdomain, like we could use m.consultatron.com in here. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. Someone might decide to go for consultatron.social, go and buy this social top level domain. Again, I think you would go straight for creating an instance that just uses that domain, but this is the flexibility that it does offer. And I'm sure that there are some use cases where for some reason you want that. But for us today, we just want consultatron.com. I'm going to hit create instance, and we can see here, really long domain.consultatron.com. Okay, creation is scheduled. So 20 seconds later, you'll see that it's provisioned. And if I click on visit site here, here's my new Mastodon instance. All right, nothing much to see. Just zoom it out a little bit so you can see better. See, it looks more normal now. Try to make the text big so that it shows up more clearly on your screens. So if I click login here, the login details are stored here. And password. Okay, so over on Consultatron, if we have a look, we've got step 1 done. So even though it's reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com, when we click here, we can see it's Consultatron at consultatron.com. So what's happening right now is our Mastodon instance is saying, despite the URL you may have found this at, this is really Consultatron at consultatron.com. The issue is when other instances go, oh, okay, well, I'm going to have a look at consultatron.com then, they will see the website still. They'll see consultatron.com and they'll go, wait a minute, you don't appear to be consultatron.com, imposter. So what we want to do is set up this website, this consultatron.com website, to redirect the traffic that comes in from other Mastodon instances looking to see who this consultatron at consultatron.com user is, and show them the information they would get on the actual reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com instance. Basically what we're wanting is to make sure that when instances come here and they are looking for the specific information about our users, what they actually see is the stuff that's located over here. So for a regular user, they just see a website. But for a Mastodon instance, when they come to the website, they see something different. They get piped the information that they need to know from the Mastodon instance that we've set up. I think that explanation makes about as much sense as it can. Anyway, I can show you how I've done this in my case. What I use is DigitalOcean's app platform to serve a website. Now you can set up a redirect in whatever you want. You can do it in Nginx, you can do it in Apache, you could even write it into code, you know, if you're using like PHP or whatever. Generally, what you're wanting to do is do this at the server level, not at the code level. So you're wanting to use Nginx or Apache. And in this case, the app platform's basically letting you do that with a configuration variable that it has. So here's my Consultatron web app, which is just currently serving the Consultatron website. And if I go over to settings and head down to HTTP routes redirect and hit edit, I can add in a redirect right here at the server level, or the kind of equivalent of it. The route path, what we want to put here is the address on our actual website that Mastodon instances will be coming to check out the WebFinger. That address is /well-known/WebFinger. Other Mastodon instances are coming to consultatron.com, well-known WebFinger, expecting to find out information about this user that's showing up saying that their username is consultatron at consultatron.com. Oh yeah? Let's have a look. And then what we want to redirect them to is our Mastodon instance, the actual one. So that's reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com. So let's grab reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com. So it's going to send them from consultatron.com to reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com with the same well-known WebFinger. And the redirect status code is actually, I think, best to use 301 because it is permanent. This isn't a temporary thing, which is what a 302 would indicate. And then we hit save. Okay. So it is now building and it is pushing it up. The way to kind of check that it's actually working is you have to do a very specific WebFinger request. So if you have a look at our docs, you can see here we've kind of outlined the steps taken in this video, how to potentially do it with Apache, how to do it with Nginx, and then this section here, check how it is working. What we'll want to do is copy and paste this URL, go to consultatron.com, we can put it in here, and this account detail will be an account that's on your server. So we'll go put consultatron at consultatron.com. in here. And what we're expecting to see is this. This is a JSON object, which is returning to the user a confirmation of what the account is, what's actually here. So even though you initially went to consultatron.com, you're now over here on reallyLongDomain.consultatron.com. So yeah, you start off here, consultatron.com, you end up over on your actual instance. So now Consultatron is ready to go out into the world and consult with a much simpler handle than we initially had at the start. So that is what WebFingers do. Now, for a discussion on whether WebFingers are a good idea or not, FediHost has a podcast where me and the CTO of FediHost discuss kind of like our experience with them. Check that out if you're interested to learn more. Anyway, that's it for this tutorial. Got lots more in the works and planned. If there's things that you're wondering about how to do, how to configure something, how to change something, how to get something to work, let me know in the comments. Happy to add it to the list and help you get going on the Fediverse. Bye!